Steelers Nation, what is going on? Thank you guys so very much for tuning in on yet another edition of the Steelers Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. And this episode is powered by our great friends over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
And today we will be discussing Arthur Smith, because that's always fun.
Good old Artie Smith.
Yeah, good old Art. The other Art that we don't like in this organization.
So far, there hasn't been a good resume of arts in this town.
Not after the original Chief, no. But we're going to discuss Arthur Smith and pretty much breaking down or discussing or grading his first year as offensive coordinator for the Steelers, because it is confirmed he will be back for a second year as OC. To no one's shock, but after interviews with the Bears and the Jets for head coaching offers and interviews, he wasn't elected to be the guy, obviously. So he'll be returning with Mike Tomlin as the OC for the Steelers for a second straight year, with probably a new quarterback under the whelm. So Lord knows what that's going to be like. We can only hope for the best. But today we're going to discuss Arthur Smith and break down his entire first year, which I'm going to put out flat immediately. It wasn't really much improvement. I didn't see much of a difference. I wouldn't even consider it much of a success. I wouldn't consider it much of an upgrade at all.
No, seeing what happened at the end of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, no, it wasn't too great success whatsoever.
No. But today we're going to discuss all that. So thank you guys for joining us, man. And huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this video, as we are officially 3 games left into the 2024-2025 NFL season. And this Sunday, we have Championship Sunday. We have the conference championships regarding the Commanders, their first conference championship appearance in 32 seasons, versus the Philadelphia Eagles, their third matchup all season, which should be a banger. That should be exciting. And we're all rooting for an upset because nobody likes the Eagles.
And honestly, when's the last time that the NFC Easts were in the NFC Championship? Both teams.
Both teams? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It's been a
Neither could
minute.
I.
It's been a minute.
But how about the Commanders, man?
How about the Commanders? How about Jaden Daniels? How about that entire switch up, man? You know, what's crazy is they have nothing to lose this year.
They don't?
They shouldn't be here. Nobody expected them to be here. People might have expected the Eagles to be here, especially since they signed Shaquan, but no one expected the Commanders to be here. They have nothing to lose. The Eagles have everything to lose. So you can bet the Commanders are going to throw everything at them. So the Eagles, at their house, in their home, they better bring it, because I'm sure the Commanders are going to throw everything they can.
Oh, they're going to go all out against Philadelphia like that to get to the Super Bowl? Yeah.
Yeah, considering Jaden Daniels in his rookie season, he's having probably the best rookie season of any quarterback in NFL history, and there's been some good ones. Bills and Chiefs, which is to no one's shock. Everyone kind of projected this to be one of the more likely matchups for the championship at the beginning of the season. Here we have it again, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. It's what the NFL wanted, and frankly, it is going to be a good game. We are all honorary Bills fans. We are all part of the Bills Mafia this Sunday, because nobody, and I repeat, nobody wants to see the Chiefs have a three-peat. Hard pass.
No, but it will be the Bills versus the refs.
Pretty much. The Chiefs and the refs.
Yeah.
It's a handicap match. I'm going to go Commanders, and I'm going to pick the Bills money line. That is our dream Super Bowl. I wouldn't mind Bills and Philly, but Bills and Commanders, I think, is just fresh. It's different, and I think it'd be a great game. And either way, you can't go wrong with who wins, because both organizations really deserve it after years of where they've been at.
Yeah, it is the Super Bowl that America truly wants.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we're most likely going to get the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Hopefully not. I'm going to go with the upsets here. I'm going to take both of the upsets. You guys see the money lines. You see the point spreads and everything. If you don't feel confident with the money lines, any of those point spreads, even especially the Commanders, is probably a good one to take, if I'm going to be honest with you. The overs, I feel like they're kind of low. I think we're going to get more of an offensive matchup. You could take the overs as well. So BetUS has all that offered. We're going to convert that to a parlay. I'm going to put 50 on it. Put 50 place if you guys want to tail this. Feel free to do so at BetUS.com. If you guys are looking for a new sportsbook this season, when going into BetUS.com, make sure you take advantage of their 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000, and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use that promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today. Not only that, but with BetUS, you get the fastest payouts in the industry, fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, live wagering on all major games, which includes the NFL, which includes the NBA, and any other sport you guys are interested in, and personalized service 24/7. So huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring with us as we get to the conclusion of the NFL season. Just please gamble responsibly. Seeing those offensive matchups makes me a little upset, seeing how you get to see what real offenses look like. You get to see what teams, competitive football is what we're going to witness on Sunday, right?
Flashy plays, flashy offenses, consistent offenses at that, and offenses that can actually score on opening drives.
Yeah, competitiveness. Something I don't think the Steelers are close to. Something I don't think that any coordinator that they have had since Todd Haley can obtain or can bring to the table. And that's not exactly an entire knock on the coordinator itself, not on Fichtner, not on Canada, and not on Smith. I don't think any of them are particularly good. Arthur Smith has had prior success with Tennessee, obviously. But one thing about all three of them, there's one thing in common with all three of them. There's no change. Nothing has been improved. There's no difference. Like, you put those three side by side, there is no difference. I can't tell a difference between any of those three. I think that's more of a testament. I think that's more of the Steelers' philosophy and Mike Tomlin's game plan and how he wants the offense to run. Mike Tomlin has a specific plan. He has a specific set he wants to run the offense by, and it's to the coordinators to call exactly that. There's no freedom. There's not. So when we grade Arthur Smith in his first full year as Steelers OC, we can't exactly give him a full grade. We can't exactly give him a full legitimate review because I do think that in some case he is held back. You know, there were reports that him and Russ weren't really seeing eye to eye and how they wanted the passing game to be operated, how they wanted the passing game to work on the field.
Or some people even just gave off the judgment that Arthur Smith preferred Justin Fields over Russell Wilson for the offense.
Absolutely. So all that in regard, I'm going to give Arthur Smith the benefit of the doubt in that factor. I don't think he had the full leeway. I don't think he had his full ammunition to shoot at the defense. So in that regard, I'm going to give Arthur Smith the benefit of the doubt there. But at the same time, he's not completely immune to criticism because the offense, man, they still have issues. Now, this season, we don't know what the season's going to look like. We don't even know who the starting quarterback's going to be. But, you know, in his second year, we would hope that there is something better. But one thing is for sure, we shouldn't expect anything greater. We shouldn't expect much change. We shouldn't expect such improvement only because, again, the past three coordinators and what we've seen and how the Steelers want to run the offense and how they've been running the offense and how they think that thing is specifically successful when clearly it's not. And they're doing the same thing over and over and over and hoping that it works. There's no reason to believe that, you know, we're going to find some success in the near future.
Yeah.
With what we have, not only at OC, but the coaching in general.
Yeah. But I look back at last offseason when the Steelers did their offensive coordinator search. And it was reported that Tomlin was looking for an outside offensive coordinator for once after settling with Fichtner and Canada in-house promotions.
Yeah.
They only interviewed 3 candidates for the offensive coordinator position. They interviewed Thomas Brown, they interviewed Gerard Johnson, and, of course, Arthur Smith.
That's it. And at the time, I think Thomas Brown was the Panthers' offensive coordinator before he wore so many hats with the Bears this past season. Gerard Johnson is currently the Texans' quarterback coach. And those were 2 solid options that they could have brought in. And to be frank, they were the 2 required minority interviews that the Steelers had to do. That's what the league has to do nowadays. They got to interview the 2 minority guys to bring in, and that's a requirement by the league. And that's what the Steelers did. They brought in 2 of those guys, which I think were solid options, 2 good interviews. But the next guy they interviewed was Arthur Smith. So it's almost like they rushed it because this wasn't an intense search. This wasn't, let's bring in as many guys as possible. Let's interview as many guys as possible and go through all our options. They did the bare minimum. They did what they had to do by league requirements. And then the next guy they interviewed, which was Arthur Smith, he got the job. This was not an intense search.
No, they did not take it seriously. I think I even said it, the night we hired Arthur Smith. They did not take the search seriously. They did not take the coordinator search seriously whatsoever.
And they were even interested in Cliff Kingsbury and Zach Robinson, who are both obviously OCs for the Falcons and the Commanders. They found success there. But they were interested in those guys, but they never made it to the building. I don't know why. That's in the past, but they were interested in those guys. But even though all that was reported, they only brought in 3 OC interviews.
And they settled with the guy that fit the philosophy, that fit the principle of what the Steelers continue to think is going to win in football games. and a Super Bowl championship.
Yeah, because Arthur Smith fit exactly what the Steelers wanted.
Like a glove.
It's a prior experience, success with the Titans as their OC with Derrick Henry running the football, and he prioritizes the run game. Everyone knows that Arthur Smith and his bread and butter is the run game. He runs an outside wide zone run scheme, is very successful.
That's what Art Rooney has been, very vocal about. That's what Mike Tomlin is looking to constantly push for years now, and that's what Arthur Smith fit.
But instead of bringing in somebody that could have helped where the Steelers lack, which was the passing game, they decided to bring in somebody that was already good at what the Steelers were good at. Even when they had Canada.
Yeah.
Even when they had Fickner. They brought in someone where he was already good at scheming what the Steelers were good at offensively, instead of trying to bring in someone that would have improved where they are flawed, which was, again, the passing game. And one of the biggest negatives about Arthur Smith, and this is still the same, is he has never schemed a top 15 passing game. That was the biggest concern with him coming in as the OC, is he's never been able to scheme a passing game, and clearly he still can't. Now, I know his quarterback history hasn't really been the greatest with the Titans, with the Falcons, and now with the Steelers. We'll see what this year comes. But even though, you could say that, at the same time, just look at where the Steelers are. Look at how they want to run the offense.
Yeah.
I just don't trust anything to be greater when that's the way they want to run the offense, when they think that is successful football, when it's not. You got so many higher ups, you got so many guys with so much control and so much power that want to go with that. And honestly, man, even if Arthur Smith would have gotten hired by the Jets or by the Bears or whoever for a head coaching job, the truth of the matter is Mike Tomlin or whoever would have just brought in someone that would have ran the exact same style and the exact same game plan. And they would have been handcuffed the exact same way by Tomlin and by whoever, because they want to run it a certain way. That's the biggest negative here.
Yeah.
And that's what we're stuck with Arthur
Yeah,
Smith.
because they firmly believe, hey, let's get stronger with our strengths, when the strengths are not the issue. It's the weak links that have always been the issue for going on 7 years now.
Yep.
Way too long. Way too freaking long. Dating back to Fickner, then to Canada, and now to Arthur Smith. And I don't feel optimistic about it getting any better down the road.
No, because I don't see the change. I don't think of those three guys and think, hey, one's different from the other. They're not.
Honestly,
I can't tell the difference. The only thing with Arthur Smith, he runs more under center, which leads to a lot more play action. He runs some pistol. He's a wide outside zone run scheme.
multiple tight end sets, play action.
And he does throw the ball down the field a lot more than the other two coordinators were. We saw a lot of deep shots from Russ and Fields to Pickens and Austin, excuse me, and Jefferson and whoever at receiver. They threw the ball down the field a lot, which is what the offense needed to get back to. But in that same factor, they weren't opening the passing game because they were relying on just, let's run it and let's chuck it. Run and chuck, nothing else.
It's their one-trick pony.
That's all they do.
It's their one-trick pony. That was very evident within the last 5 games that the Steelers played, counting the playoff game, the last 5 straight losses that they sustained.
Yeah.
And that was against, keep in mind, legitimate competition at that, playoff contending teams at that. And they were really exposed. They only scored a high of 17 points twice.
Yeah.
They could not even garner 20 points in any of those games.
No.
That just exposed the Steelers. That exposed the offense of, what they are and, what they desire to run the offense about.
Yep. And that was a big catapult of why they had, in my opinion, the worst collapse they've had in probably team history, or at least in Mike Tomlin's history. The offense was just so basic. There was just nothing extra.
And that was
I always said this year, Arthur Smith was just Matt Canada with variety.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that, I actually wrote some stats down because I wanted to compare Matt Canada's statistics from 2023 before he was fired to Arthur Smith in his 4 year in 2024. So I want to start with the total offensive ranks from Matt Canada last year, or 2 years ago, technically in 2023. The offense was 25th ranked in total offense, with their passing offense being ranked 25th and their rushing offense being ranked 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Compared that to Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith's offense was 23rd ranked in total offense, with 27th in passing and 11th in rushing. So in total offense, it got better, so to speak, but the passing was worse.
Do you call that better?
Statistically, yes, by 2.
Well, look at the total yards per game. Under Matt Canada, before he got fired in 2023, they averaged 304.3 points or yards per game and 17.9 points per game.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Under Arthur Smith, they averaged 319.4 yards per game, which is just 15 yards extra, and 22.4 points per game, a 5-point extra. Wow. I guess it's an upgrade, but it's nothing mind-blowing. It's not the upgrade we wanted. It's not the upgrade that we need. It's not the upgrade we desire.
And listen, it's not the upgrade that I expected, because when Arthur Smith was first hired, I was not optimistic about it whatsoever.
Me neither.
I was not a fan of the hire when it was first announced.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I did not have high expectations coming to the season. I've learned to condition myself not to have high expectations when it comes to the Steelers in general, but I didn't coming into the season. Now I don't moving forward. But I mean, just reading just these early stats, we still got more stats to talk about. Just going.
Now keep in mind, this is with an OC change and 2 new quarterbacks, 2 better quarterbacks, 2 quarterbacks that led us pretty well up until the very end.
Yeah. And 2 positions that the Steelers knew that they had to take care of very seriously.
And they did, and they changed, and
did they?
I thought
They changed on paper.
On paper, yes.
They changed on paper.
On field, I can't really tell you.
And on paper, so far statistically, they got better, but not by exactly much. But moving on, continuing, when it came to the EPA per play, expected points added, EPA per play for Matt Canada, they were ranked 25th. For Arthur Smith, they were ranked 24th.
Now, keep in mind, Arthur Smith also never had, Matt Canada never had a single game where he helped the offense gain 400 total yards.
And how many games was that? Was it 44?
It was too many. It was 2.5, 3 years as OC. Not one single 400-yard game. And hilariously, the first game without him, they had 400.
Yeah, they did.
With Arthur Smith, they had 4 400-yard games. So that goes to show you, yeah, there's a bit of an upgrade. The offense can open things up just a little bit. And believe me, early on into the season, they did. Now, it took them a bit. They were slow to start the season offensively, as always. And them starting slow in any way possible is just the most Steelers thing to do. It took them a couple weeks to really get going. It took Justin Fields a couple weeks to really get going. But they found a groove, and they were able to get points on the board. And for a decent stretch of weeks, they were actually putting up some serious points on the board. They were putting up 30 points, and they put up another 30 versus the Jets and the Bengals. They put up 40. Well, 7 added with the Peyton Wilson touchdown.
Right.
But, 37 offensively
but you
versus
get the
the
point.
Bengals.
Like we were getting points. The Steelers were putting up points, like something that they rarely had ever done.
Yeah.
In the Matt Canada days.
Yeah.
Ever. It was something that, was not very common of the Steelers offense to do. So it's like, yeah, they had their moments. They had their games where it's like, yeah, like this is a fired up offense. Keep in mind, that Bengals game was the last time like we saw an electric Steelers offense. That was the game Russ had over 400 passing yards. They had over 500 yards total.
Yeah.
Total yardage on offense. Over 500, 44 points.
And that was the first game that the Steelers had over 500 total yards of offense and 30 or more points in a single game in a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. And that was also the last time we achieved any of those factors because we only scored 30 or more points in 3 games all season.
Yeah.
All season.
Yeah, it was after that Bengals game is where the offense was just like, we never seen 1 trace, 1 ounce of any of that offense from that Bengals game for the rest of the way.
No. So, again, during a certain stretch, the offense was showing some life. They were showing that they could maintain time possession. They can get down the field. They can get points on the board. Now, at the same time, they did really struggle to finish drives. They did really struggle in the red zone, and clearly they struggled with a lot of consistency. And a lot of that was very evident towards the bottom half of the season. It was just rough to watch as a Steelers fan. Nothing we're not used to, but, seeing where they were sitting at 10-3 and then seeing where they finished, very disappointing. And seeing how, again, they changed OC, they changed the quarterback position by 2 new faces, 2 vets, 2 starters. It's just an awful way to end.
Yeah.
And it's an awful way to look at the situation and think, hey, coming into the season, some of us had some excitement to look at it. Like, we actually made some change, man. Tomlin actually did what he had to do. He made the change, but it didn't make a lick of a difference because it ended in the same way, and it ended very poorly for all parties.
And you talk about poorly. I think the biggest stat that really stands out between Canada's last year and Arthur Smith's first year is the first down yards per play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When it comes to this, when it came to Matt Canada in 2023, first down yards per play was a 5 flat, which was 24th ranked in the NFL. Not exactly the greatest, but 5 flat, half the yardage. First down percentage rate was 20.3%, which was 12th. Not half bad, considering for Matt Canada.
Right.
When it came to Arthur Smith, first down yards per play, 4.6. That's dead last.
Because maybe if you would throw the ball a little more on first down, it would be a little better or a little more successful or a little more unpredictable for the defense. You know how they would just keep running the ball on first down, first and second down, run, pass, and all these patterns, which we've been seeing for how many years now? That's why they're dead last on first down yards per play.
Yeah, and the first down percentage rate for Arthur Smith was 16.4%. Again, down. That's 29th ranked.
Not good. Now, keep in mind.
How does I just got to ask this question quick. How do you have a more competent, so to speak, more competent and experienced OC, and your first down yards per play, your first down efficiency is worse than Matt Canada?
Boggles my mind. Only the Steelers can do something like that. Truthfully, I don't understand. And another big negative about Arthur Smith, 2 of them actually. 1, too many toss plays. I think we all know that. It is the new jet sweep. It's way too many toss plays. It frankly cost us versus the Eagles. Now, Najee never should have fumbled, but if you would stop with the toss plays and just hand him the ball under center.
Just hand it off.
That's all you got to do. Too many toss plays, and frankly, I can't even tell you one toss play that led to any success. They were all stuffed. Most of them loss of yardage. No success. And you got no blockers that can block on the wide zone. There's no one out there that can block well. The line can't pull.
I am telling you.
There's no receivers that can block out there. And frankly, when the offense is so predictable and they run it so many times, the defense is going to cradle that entire side. It's just not successful, and it's repetitive.
No, and I'm telling you right now, and I know it's not going to go away, but I'm still going to speak it because this is how I feel. They got to go. They have to be removed from the playbook permanently.
Or if you're going to run them, use them with the right personnel. And that's the second biggest negative about Arthur Smith is his player personnel usage. They traded for Mike Williams, and he saw how many targets after that Commanders game? How many catches after that Commanders game? How many snaps?
I'm going to say, as far as targets go, I'm going to say 12.
I don't know. I would have to go deep into the depths of the search to find that exact answer. But all I know is I saw way too much more Van Jefferson than Mike Williams. Makes no sense to me. No. I saw a lot of Cordell Patterson, more than we anticipated.
Some of them
He's 74 years old. He is so slow, and he's getting snaps over Jaylen Warren.
And he would even receive some of the toss plays. Like, that makes absolute perfect sense.
Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So his player personnel was incredibly questionable all season. Like, why is he using Arthur Smith folk, Arthur Smith guys, right?
Guys like Michael Pruitt, a third stringer. Van Jefferson, a third stringer, fifth stringer at this point. He played like a backup, let's be real. He was a starter that played like a backup.
Yeah.
And Cordell Patterson, who's nothing but a third string running back and not even that good of a kick returner anymore in his career.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I think he played Connor Hayward just a little bit too much because Hayward's not a good fullback. I think this year proved it, and they should have put somebody else back there. They should have put Darnell back there. They could have put Ben Skoranek back there. Both are two great blockers and probably the best blockers on this entire team. So his player personnel was very questionable, and quite frankly, I think it limited the offense. I think it handicapped the offense. There was just so much potential, but they didn't put their best bodies out there.
No. And going with the Arthur Smith guys, that's another thing that they have to stop. They cannot afford to do that anymore. And anybody that Arthur Smith is familiar with, I don't even want to see Smith look in their direction.
That, and they got to be more aggressive in the passing game. They can't. I know the Steelers aren't going to step away from it, but they can't just rely on a run game and hope that succeeds. They got to open playbook. They got to spread the ball around. They got to use the middle of the field. They got to exercise as much of the field as they can. They got to throw the football. You got to throw the pigskin. With the quarterback change, and I know we lacked a receiver, but I thought we had the tight ends that he loves to use. He loves to use a lot of 12, 13 personnel. I thought maybe he'd get the tight ends involved more. And Muth had a solid year. Darnell saw some targets. I'm not going to completely deny that, but probably not as much as we would have hoped. I don't think Muth saw much of the middle of the field as he should have. I don't think he saw as many targets as he should have, as being the fact that we didn't have a number 2 all season.
No.
He could have been that number 2, especially since he got extended. He didn't get enough targets, in my opinion.
Or if
a lot of these guys didn't get enough targets.
Or if they give Mike Williams, most importantly, the opportunity. I mean, there's a reason why you traded for Mike Williams. You were still in the wide receiver hunt.
You traded a 5th rounder for him for a touchdown catch versus the Commanders.
And that's it.
And he's going to walk. He's going to be a free agent.
I don't expect Mike Williams to come back. I don't.
No, me neither.
But, I mean, like, looking back at it, he absolutely should have been given more of an opportunity, more reps. He should have started over Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
I don't know what Van Jefferson had over Mike Williams. I don't know what that was about. Experience. Mike Williams is a multi-time veteran fucking starter. Well, that was alongside Keenan Allen and caught balls with Justin Herbert.
What I'm saying is he had a full offseason with Arthur Smith's playbook. Plus, he was with Arthur Smith with Atlanta last year.
Yeah, that really, really panned out for the Steelers, didn't it?
Got chemistry, man. It's like when Art Rooney II, his reason for not getting rid of Canada for Kenny's second year or third year, whatever year, second year. His reason for not getting rid of Matt Canada in Kenny's second year was because, they have chemistry. Fuck chemistry.
I still have nightmares about that.
God, man. So all in all, the way the Steelers attacked it, the way the Steelers went through the whole OC search and seeing how they picked Arthur Smith and seeing what Arthur Smith did and what the Steelers want to do as an offense, it's all sad. I mean, for lack of better terms, it's sad. It's pathetic. And frankly, I'm going to look at this in year 1 and going on in year 2 and maybe even year 3, because I don't expect Arthur Smith to leave after year 2. I don't expect them to fire him. I can't find myself to expect anything greater. I can't expect improvement. And I'm going to look at year 1 and maybe in all at the end, when it's all said and done, when we think back to the Arthur Smith era, this is going to come out as an entire failure because you brought in this guy to fix the offense, to bring something fresh to the offense. And he hasn't really brought in much. All he's brought in is more scheme plays, more wide zone, more under center, more play action, more deep balls, more tight end usage. That's it. Nothing else. He can't scheme a passing game. I know he didn't have the talent, but he also didn't use the proper talent.
No.
I know he wanted Fields as his quarterback. He didn't get Fields for the remainder of the season. So maybe this year could be different, but I mean, that's kind of relying on a lot of faith there, isn't it? So at the end of the day, I don't think he did entirely awful. Was he an upgrade over Canada? Yes. But that's also not saying much because I could have went out there. You could have went out there. You could have went out there. My 6-year-old nephew could have went out there and been better than Matt Canada. That's how bad Canada was. But it was a perfect match for the Steelers. They didn't take the search seriously. They interviewed 3 guys. They did the requirements they had to. They signed the next guy after they did the requirements because he fit exactly what they wanted. Oh, you have experience? You were a former offensive coordinator? You succeeded with one of the best running backs in this era, in this generation? You do what we want to do? You want to run the ball? You run first, your run philosophy?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and going forward again, I don't have much optimism with Arthur Smith as the OC, whether he's handicapped or not. I don't find him as a particularly good fit for the Steelers. He's a good fit per se when it comes to what the Steelers
want to do,
but that's not good.
Well,
that's horrible.
I think that's also coaching in general. Not just Arthur Smith, but Tomlin and, what he's done and what he's led to the Steelers for many years. Terrell Austin and how he's leading the defense and how he's kind of just like the puppet for Mike Tomlin, leading the defense. And
because Tomlin, in the end, he's the puppet master.
Yeah, and you see Arthur Smith. It's just, if there's one word I had to give this offense, this coaching staff, and there's many words, but the one word I can think of right now is basic.
And if this does ultimately fail, which I'm worried it will, this will fall on Mike Tomlin because he knew that he had to make an immediate and proper change when it came to the coordinators, considering what he had to deal with Randy Fichtner when he promoted him when Haley left, and when he promoted Matt Canada and kept him for longer than he should have been here.
Mm-hmm.
Tomlin knew he had to make a change.
And he did.
He said himself, change is coming.
And he did. And he went and got an outside coordinator with Arthur Smith. But he said, you know what? Let's get an outside coordinator and let's run the exact same game plan that we ran with the past 2 coordinators because that's successful.
But instead of making...
And everyone in the organization is going to approve because they think that is the winning culture for the NFL nowadays. And no matter who the OC is, I think that's going to remain the game plan. So Arthur Smith or whoever you want as OC, frankly, it's all going to be the same game plan.
No.
And that's all we can expect for the foreseeable future, unfortunately.
Instead of Tomlin going out his way and making the necessary change and taking a chance on a guy like a Cliff Kingsbury that would have came in and...
Or Gerard Johnson, who is a quarterback coach, or someone that's a passing game coordinator.
So just take a chance on somebody that would have helped out the passing game, would have given their input, their coaching mentality into these guys, considering, the quarterback change that they made, what they could have done and made an impact on Justin Fields, right?
Or maybe do
or
what
Russell
they
Wilson
what they could do now, since it's funny, man. We're asking for change from the Steelers organization, seeing how it's led to the same result for how many years now, and there's no change, right? Not a single change. No one has left the building. No, they are doing nothing right now. They're sitting on their hands. That's all they're doing. They're sitting on their hands, watching the playoffs. That's all they're doing. Well, you got the Texans. They just fired Bobby Slowick. They went to the divisional round with Bobby Slowick leading their offense as offensive coordinator for how many years now? I'm not saying replace Arthur Smith with Bobby Slowick. But what I'm saying is give the guy a call, bring him in to bring in a fresh mind, some brains, and someone to help with the passing game. Because you got no one in your room right now that can fix or build or help with the passing game. Because if you did, we would have seen something this year, and we didn't.
Nope.
So it is your opportunity. It is your chance to give the guy a call, at least showing the effort, and try to build on this coaching staff. If you're not going to change a fucking thing, you better start bringing some bodies in.
Yeah,
you better start bringing in some minds.
Because the Steelers, I think their entire coaching staff, they don't even have more than 20 people, which is actually the fewest in the NFL. Yes. They have less than 20 people.
How's that possible?
And you see, why the Steelers aren't legitimate. You have the least amount of coaches on your staff, and it's nothing but the same stuff every single year. Why are you not adding more people? Why are you not giving people more positions? Why are you not bringing people more in? Why are you not adding to this team, to this staff? Why are you not making change? The Steelers are doing absolutely nothing.
No, they're not.
Nothing.
And again, man, I know it's been said time and time again, but there's no reason to expect it. That's unfortunate, man.
And that's with Arthur Smith coming to his second year. I don't expect much change. I don't expect much growth, much success. I am not optimistic about Arthur Smith continuing his career as Steelers OC.
No.
And I hate to say that. I do.
And that's even if they bring back Justin Fields, which we're fans of. Bring in Justin Fields, give him the chance. If they bring in a free agent receiver, apparently they're going to go aggressive in free agency for a receiver. You guys know who the top dog is. There's some other names down there they could grab. There's also the draft. No matter who they bring in at quarterback, no matter who they resign at quarterback, no matter who they bring in at receiver, no matter who they bring back at running back or sign or draft at running back, whatever, no matter what they do, I can't expect anything crazy. I can't expect anything greater because this was the year.
It should have been.
It should have been. I know you didn't have the immense talent. Warren was hurt most of the year. Najee didn't fit the scheme. You only had one legitimate receiver that crashes out every game. I get it. But you got people you can use, and they didn't utilize it. And they ran with the same game plan all over again.
No.
So if I had to give everything that the Steelers did and Arthur Smith did for the season, their search, or Arthur Smith in general and what he did, his game plan, or the play calling, the player personnel usage, the way he led the offense, I'd give him probably like a C-.
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 I'm giving him a D.
A D?
I'm giving him a D.
Okay.
If we had a better ending to this season, like if we didn't lose 5 straight games, maybe I would have given him a higher grade, but just seeing what the offense was about, how basic it was and predictable, and just how it cost us the game, especially in the playoff games at that. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
The fact that we're still deficit, we were outscored, 73-0 in the last 6 playoff games, and the Steelers weren't able to score in the first quarter in their last 4 straight playoff games. And that continued with Arthur Smith.
Well, they also didn't have a single opening drive touchdown all season.
All season. When's the last time they even had one?
I can't tell you. All I know is it was last season. That's all I can tell you.
That is really disappointing.
Yeah. All in all, not much change, not much difference, no improvement. Minimal improvement. That's all I saw. There's nothing crazy, and no matter who they bring in, I can't expect much. Low expectations from here on out, pretty much, because no one's going anywhere. They're not making any change. They're not pushing anybody out. They're apparently not bringing anybody in. There's nothing to expect. There's so low expectations right now. It hurts as a Steelers fan.
It just shows that the Steelers are in no rush to
do anything.
No. They're just, I don't know what they're doing. I don't.
No one knows what they're doing.
I don't know how you lose 5 straight games at the end of the season. You have a complete total collapse and get blown out and go one and done once again for a 6th straight playoff loss, and you do nothing.
No, but you got the Texans saying, you know what, we went to the divisional round and lost, but Bobby Slowick, you aren't good enough. We're going to go get another guy.
Yeah, we weren't satisfied enough, so I'm sorry, but business is business.
But here we are just doing nothing. Tale of 2 organizations, man. It's unfortunate.
Just,
But Arthur Smith, hey, 1 year in the books. We'll see what year 2 brings us.
all we can do is really hope for the best.
Yeah.
While keeping low expectations at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I encourage you guys to have low expectations. If you do already, then, hey.
Right there with you.
Right there with you, pal.
So let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you guys think about Arthur Smith's first year as offensive coordinator? What do you think he will do moving forward as Steelers offensive coordinator?
Yeah, give us your guys' honest thoughts about everything, man. If you guys want to add anything in the chat or in the comments, feel free to do so. Love to hear your guys' interactions and your thoughts as always, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this video. Again, man, the Conference Championship Sunday is upon us. We got 2 really good games, and I'm hoping for 2 really good, awesome upsets. Go Bills and go Commanders. That's all I'm saying, man. You guys want to get in on any of the action, on the betting action, BetUS has you covered. If you guys are looking for a new sportsbook, take advantage of that 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up today at BetUS.com. Huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring with us. Shout out to you guys for watching. Let us know you guys' thoughts in the comments. 1 year in the books for Arthur Smith. Year 2 is coming up, and they aren't doing anything. So, here we go. Again, here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!